What's going on, Workforce? Brian here, and today we're talking about the 3.15 March 15th update to Anthem, which essentially is addressing some of the loot concerns, especially as it relates to higher level difficulties. We're going to talk about it, and then we're going to actually talk about my opinion and my overview of this, because I think there's something just fundamental that this game can actually learn from other games out there, and I'm going to focus in on Final Fantasy XIV as a teacher, that what Anthem can do and what it can learn from Final Fantasy XIV to overall have a better experience. But before we get started, I do want to thank Ditto for being a part of the notification squad, being a part of the workforce. Thank you, Ditto, for making the first comment on our previous video. And if you would like to be like Ditto, be sure to hit subscribe and join the workforce, as well as leave a comment below if you're here and you're part of the notification squad. We're going to be shouting you out here going forward. So thank you again, Ditto. Thank you for everybody who's a part of the workforce, and if you are not, we hope that you consider becoming a member. Anyway, so without further ado, we've talked about obviously in previous videos about what Anthem needs to do with the loot, how to kind of solve a part of it, and it's more focusing on progression, because obviously as a looter shooter you want to see loot. And what happened today was, in the latest server-side update, they have made some notable changes to the loot drop rates in specific scenarios in which these actually take effect immediately, and there's no client-side update that is needed at all on your end. These changes include Master Work and Legendary drop rates have been increased for Grandmaster 2 and Grandmaster 3 difficulty levels, and Master Work and Legendary drop rates have been increased for harder enemies at all difficulty levels, and this includes Legendary Titan, Epic Titan, Legendary Fury, Epic Fury, Legendary Acid Uryx, and Legendary Luminary Elder. And so what this really means is you're going to ideally get more loot. But does this solve the problem? And I'm going to tell you right now, absolutely not. I just finished running and testing it out on both GM2 and GM1. In GM2, it was bugged out for the harder rage, and it just kept putting me in the final boss. But for GM1, I was able to go run Scar Temple and ended up having both an enjoyable time, and then I felt like I got a lot of loot. Why does this not solve the problem? Because without some level of static system, you're going, if your progression is 100% random RNG based, there's always going to be a level of frustration. Why am I not getting stronger? Why am I not progressing? Does this address the issue with getting Master Works? Absolutely. I ran this content with a reasonably, I guess, leveled group when we're talking about every javelin. Because if you guys aren't aware right now, it's either a bug or something, but if you go in at like a GM1 at a 400 and everybody's else 600, you could be hurting their loot rolls. Anyway, we'll talk about more about that maybe in a deeper dive video. We're waiting to see kind of what BioWare does and how they respond with it. Beyond that though, I got 4 Masterworks in one run. That actually felt very, very rewarding, especially comparing where I've been in the game and not getting much of anything recently. Did I get any legendaries? Absolutely not. My hunt for the legendary is epic and legendary in and of itself. But what I mean is, does this solve the issue? And what do I mean by the static and the RNG? RNG is the drop of the loot. That's exciting. That is fun. That is where the game's at. And you see it excel, and you see that fun happen as you progress and as you level up. The static is, once you hit level 30, there is no more progression. There is no horizontal progression that's happening. And that is where I think the frustration builds, because no matter how much time you spend in it, if you're spending 1,000 hours rolling a dice, maybe somebody hits it, it's the lucky roll right off the gate, and maybe you don't. And eventually that's just going to lead to frustration and animosity. Random, I'm not calling that they remove RNG whatsoever, because there is that excitement, because it is fun to roll the dice, it is fun to get the loot, it is fun, and that is one part of it. But without a static level in which that you are slowly making progress, that it is like, well, I know that even if I'm going to roll the dice 1,000 times, after at least an hour, I'm guaranteed this. That's where that give and take needs to come into play, and there's many systems and examples of what they can do and what they should do, in various different games. And so how I'm going to look at this, let's look at Final Fantasy XIV. In Final Fantasy XIV, you've got the randomness, you got the drops, you got the rolls that happens when you run the gear. You're rolling against other players to get gear. In this game, loot is shared, so you're not actually competing against other players. That's a plus in my opinion. However, 14 has the tome system. Essentially, as you run this content, you're guaranteed a certain currency which that allows you to upgrade your gear. It allows you to say, okay, great. So even if you don't get the drop that you're wanting, you're still making some form of progress. In 14.1.0, we had it all random. And so you see that level of frustration. And typically, like players like myself, you want to feel rewarded. You want to feel like your time and your investment in your progress is all kind of one and the same. It's great to get that drop that feels so good and it just rewards you and you go from there. But if you don't get that drop, if you're on the other side of it, like I've been in my hunt for legendaries, having no other way of getting them except for then getting lucky in this case, that ends up being one of the things. Now, obviously, bugs aside and issues aside and drop rates aside, Anthem is facing, you know, its own major issues and things like that. So we're going to wait and see what the devs do, how they decide to respond to it. Again, I do want to point you guys, if you have not seen my video talking about how a way that they could solve this by allowing us to infuse gear using the drops, the purples and all that as XP to be able to upgrade like the gear we have. If I could upgrade a purple into a masterwork, if I could upgrade a masterwork into a legendary, I'm not saying it should be fast, I'm not saying it should be shouldn't be slow. I'm saying that if I have it, it would be really cool to be able to say, let me level it up, let me level it up, let me level it up, and then oh my gosh, it's upgraded. That way, that gives me that static form of progression. Then the other side of it is that once XP in the game has a value, once you're level 30, that's where I think this is going to come into play. So those are the changes. Those are my thoughts. I'd love to know yours. Are you guys still playing this game? Are you interested? Have you moved on to Division 2? There's lots of really good games out there for you guys to play. Anyway, guys, my name is Brian, and this is Work To Game. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a phenomenal day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Hey guys, it's me, Brian. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you're new here, we hope you hit that subscribe button. Check us out. We talk a lot about video games, and we hope to at least hear from you in the comments below. We also try to respond to our comments. You know, we really appreciate the comments, the discussion, all the various points of view that everybody is so kindly, I guess politely or impolitely shares with us from time to time. So anyway, guys, again, thanks for watching this video. We hope you hit that like button. We hope you hit that subscribe button. Come back for more content each and every day. We post a lot around here, and we'd love to hear from you about what you like about video games and everything, and especially if you have any questions that you're stuck on and anything. So anyway, signing off. See you next time.